Yo, so today's question comes from El Banana Boy. He wants to know, yo, Elliot, when I was younger, I felt like I was much thicker skinned. He says these days, I can't tell if someone's joking or being disrespectful, and I'm one of those guys who can't come up with a quick comeback on the spot. How do I overcome these issues? So, his sense is that he's become too sensitive and he wants to know what to do. So, this is very much related to the last video I made where I was talking about being physically aware. And so when you're young, you're very free from trauma, and trauma gets trapped in the body. We know this from various forms of what they call, like post-traumatic stress syndromes and stuff, right? So there's a lot of evidence, there's a lot of science that's come out, even more so than from when I was, crazy breathe into your balls, Elliot Hulse, that like trauma is literally trapped in the body because there's a physical response to an external threat. And like Robert Scaer proposed in his book, The Body Bears the Burden, that when we have that sort of fight or flight reaction response to something that happens to us, there's also a concomitant freeze. And that freeze is what embeds that old reaction into our body. So what do I mean by that practically? So if somebody said something that embarrassed you one time and you froze, that you just was like in shock and you were embarrassed and you didn't know what to do, that experience stays with you unless it's worked out. Physically worked out, like you work out. You got to work it out. Because in that freeze response, there's a spike in adrenaline, which basically means your body wants to do something, like maybe to the person that said something to you, you wanted to lash out and, scratch his eyeballs out, but you couldn't. And then in that moment of like pausing or basically freezing, there's a lot of physiological shit going on. And the way he described it was like having one foot on the brakes while you're revving the gas, right? If you're driving in a car and you put one foot on the brake and one foot on the gas, he says that's what it's like. You're revving on the inside, but you're frozen. And that's how trauma gets trapped in the body. And then whenever you confront another circumstance that's like that, you basically recall that and you relive it in the moment. But here's the great thing about all of this. It's all very physical. The problem isn't in your head. Most psychology problems, I can't say, but most trauma problems or psychology problems that are a result of trauma are trapped in the unconscious, and the body is the unconscious. Your body remembers. Your body bears the burden. This is not woo-woo stuff. When I was spitting about this in 2012 and y'all thought I was crazy, there wasn't much science, but you just got to look around now. Right? Jordan Peterson is interviewing guys that talk about this stuff. It's mainstream now. So I'm just usually ahead of my time. So what do you do though, right? You got to go to where the problem is, and that's your body. So for example, if you're in a circumstance when you're with a bunch of dudes and somebody throws a joke your way, the very first thing you got to do is check out how you're breathing. If you notice that when somebody throws something your way, a guy shit tests you, because that's what guys do. They like to say that women will shit test you, but guys shit test guys too, because we got to see whether or not a man is worthwhile or loyal or trustworthy to be with us. Women, it's funny, you always get shit tested by women and by men. Women will shit test you because they got to know that they can trust you, that they could be safe with you, because they got to lean on you. And it's biological, right? It's evolutionary biology, right? Even though women think they're strong and independent now, they're physically built and designed to rely on guys. So they got to shit test guys to see, like, is this guy worthy of me relaxing, opening up, and being vulnerable with? But for guys, it's more a matter of, can I trust this guy if our life is on the line? If we're in a battle type situation or somebody comes in, they want to jump us or whatever it is, like there's a threat. Can I trust this guy that has my back? And so if you're getting shit tested by a guy, you gotta understand that's normal and natural, and it's an opportunity to show him what you're worth. But if you freeze in that moment, you're gonna look weak. The freeze reaction is totally physical. So what you gotta do is start practicing being relaxed in stressful situations. In the meantime, if something like that happens, the very first thing that you wanna do is take a deep breath and feel your feet in your shoes. Because what will happen is you'll escape. What happens a lot of times when we get in our heads, people say that, oh, you got in your head, you got caught in your head. He's right. But to get caught in the head, that means you must have left your body. And you literally do. You rise up out of your body and there's no physical consciousness at all. And then it's all in the head. Freezing is a bodily thing. The brain is still going, but the body is dead. And so you got to come back into your body, right? So the tendency will be to escape. I don't know what to do, so I escape. But the more physically present you are, the more spontaneous you will be with the proper response, as long as you're relaxed. Remember, I spoke to the guy yesterday about how he has a spontaneous reaction, but it's all unconscious because he's not aware of how he's breathing. It's the same thing with you. This is basically the same question, his and yours. It's a matter of observing yourself first. You got to watch yourself. Watch yourself first, notice, relax, and then respond. You don't have to be super quick. You don't have to be a lot of times we think wit comes like that because we're under pressure. So like a second feels like 2 minutes. But you could just pause for a moment and go, one of the things will buy you some time. This is what I'll say. Like if I get caught off guard by like my brother or my dad, because we should test each other. Like my whole family should test us. When I was younger, I didn't understand, but now I do. So like I see it coming. I'm like, is that so? Is that right? Right? As soon as I do that, is that so? Okay. Is that right? And then boom. That gives me just enough time to not think about what to say, but it's like it rises up out of you. Wit is not mental. Wit is physical. Because you got to be relaxed, and then it's like something from the unconscious comes right up. Most wit isn't logic. Most wit is unconscious. But the more relaxed you are, the more wit you have. And it's crazy because this relates to anything that you want to do in a spontaneous way, like when you get in the zone as a player, right? Like a basketball player, when they say he's in the zone and he's hitting 3-point after 3-point after 3-point, he's not there anymore. He's not thinking. That man's unconscious from years and years of repetition of hitting those 3-pointers. He tapped right into it, and then now he's in a groove and he's going. Somebody who's dancing. You ever watch somebody who's dancing and it's like, man, they're coming with moves all out of nowhere. They'll say that that's a soulful person. Like remember Soul Train from the 70s? Like these people, they would come and they would just start doing these weird dances, right? Pop locking and stuff like that. That's a soulful person. It's another way to describe it is like it's the spirit takes over, like the Holy Spirit takes over. And I'm not talking about Pentecostals when they rolling around on the floor and acting crazy, but in a way it is. In a way it is. It's almost like the Spirit takes over as long as you get out the way, and then not even you. It's just something divine, something soulless, something spontaneous just rises up out of the body. But once again, you got to be fully present in your body and relaxed. And it all begins with your breathing, bro. Hope that helps, dude. Done.